Thank you all for coming up. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you have some questions. There's a lot to discuss. You've had a little time to absorb. I'm pleased. Tova, you with me? She's too busy, you know. Her fans. Tova. Tova. Ladies and gentlemen, Tova Ascher.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for that film. Let's jump right in. I mean, this is a film really that I'd say in many ways is high concept. And I wanted to know where did this come from? Where did this grow from for you?
I was an editor for many, many years. And editing is a very important part of making movies. I usually say, in fact, I quote someone very important from theoretical films who says that you create movie 3 times. The first time, when you write the story. The second time, when you shoot it. And the third time, when you edit the movie. And editing really, it's the last chance of making out of the material a good story, a good movie. So after working as an editor for like 15 features, I have decided that I have to work with my own material. The situation in Israel became unpleasant, to say the least, and I have decided that I have to write something from my heart. And that's how I came. For me, the movie is kind of criticism about the situation in Israel. I don't know if you happened to get it, because I wanted to deal with the conflict, but I wanted to deal with it not in the usual way. And it's for you to judge whether I have decided or not.
First of all, I'll add here to Tova's credits, just because you've probably seen many of her films that she's edited. Time of Favor, Joseph Ceder's film, Lemon Tree and the Syrian Bride by Eran Riklis, as well as The Human Resources Manager by Eran Riklis. And really some of my favorite films. So
Noah is 17 was my first feature. It's kind of a very unique and very special movie.
Behind the Bars, Machorei Hasorgim?
Behind the Walls.
With the Walls.
By Uri Barbash, with Muhammad Bakri and what was the other? I forgot his name, okay. Was a very successful and very special movie that deal with the conflict also in a special way.
So one of the things that's very interesting about this film, of course, is that it's a story of really characters. And you spend a long time developing these characters and giving each character a very specific personality. What inspired you about each character? Tell us about at least our lead, but some of the others.
I'll start with the main heroine, with the main character, Nadia Maya. There was a great discussion and אי-הסכמה.
And
kind of disagreement between me and my producers about the question whether to take one actress for this role or to take 2 actresses, one Palestinian and one Jewish. I was definite that it must be one person, must be, and this person, I didn't mind if it will be Palestinian or Jewish. It must be someone very talented, and I knew that it has to be one person, and this person should go through this change. If she wouldn't go through this change of being a Palestinian and then Jewish, hiding her identity, she wouldn't make it as good as she does it. And you know the result. This is the same actress, and it wasn't easy. First of all, I had it took me for 7 months to cast the movie. And after, when I have decided about Neta Spiegelman, my actress, immediately I asked a friend of mine, an Arab, to teach her Arabic. And she was studying every day. Immediately he fell in love with her, and he decided to come and teach her every day. And for half a year, she was studying Arabic. And she's speaking very good. And then she had to study to be a choreographer. It's not easy to be choreographer. And I sent her to many, like 4 or 5 known choreographers in Israel, and she studied from them how to become choreographer. And Nimmer, I immediately knew that I want Ali Nassar. He's a great actor. And it's really amazing to know that the only character that based on real character is Nimmer. There is Nimmer in life. Someone who went on 87 to an action in Europe. He was, the action failed. He thrown out of the country, and he couldn't go back to Israel because the authorities didn't, he was, wanted. The authorities looked for him, so he was hiding for 15 or 17 years in caves until he was erased from the list of the people who are hunted. And because Nadia is a combination between reality and imagination. I don't know if you know, but in Israel, there are 60,000 people who live under false identity. 60,000. This is my research. And
I was going to ask, how do we know this? But I trust your research.
Trust. And to create Nadia, I had to do an art action, I would call it. And for me, art means taking things from reality and from imagination and make the combination to work in the life, in the world that you create. And Yoav for me is the bad guy. Yoav for me is someone who think that he is liberal, but still write laws, racist law, although he hates it. And when he come to his real examination in life, he failed. He doesn't cross it.
Is Yoav fiction or reality?
I know many Yoav in Israel, unfortunately. Many. And I say unfortunately, because maybe if we would have less situation, would another situation.
Thank you. I want to open it to some questions from the audience. I'm sure you have your questions, and I see hands already up. Thank you.
First thing, it was beautifully done.
Thank you
really
very much.
Congratulations. We say mazel tov. But I'm not an Israeli, and you're saying there's 60,000 people that live. Realistically, I'm assuming people, first thing their question is, where did you serve in a unit? You know, we're 7 degrees of separation in Israel of, you know, people know each other somehow, somewhere, families. Realistically, can someone really hide like that without not figuring out something doesn't make sense?
First of all, the answer, of course, is yes. Tel Aviv is very much like New York. Do you think that in New York it can happen? It can happen in Tel Aviv, first of all. Second, you know, the way of having a new identity, of buying or having an identity is the same way she is doing. She gets the identity for someone who used to work in the MI6 in London and deals with, you know, grey fields of preparing identities, card or what you say. And the way is when you have to wait until someone is dead and you get his identity. That's how they manufacture the identities. So I didn't, in this, you know, I didn't want to be caught in these technical things. So I made a research and I know it. And I'm not just throwing, you know, to the air that 60,000. There are many, many who lives under false identity in the Jewish country because it's easy to be Jewish. It's very difficult to be Arab in Israel.
And are you saying most of these 60,000 are Arabs living as Jews?
That's what I have been told, that there are 60,000 Arabs. Maybe there are also Eritreans or from other places.
I wonder what the rabbis would have to say about it. It definitely causes some trouble. Let's have another question here.
I'd like to also say it was a beautiful, powerful, moving film. And,
Thank you very much.
And I really appreciated the artistry that went into it. And I'm so glad that you just said what you said, because that was my interpretation of so-called, I won't say a pseudo-liberal, but people who talk the talk but don't walk the walk, as they say in the vernacular, when it actually comes to showing your liberalism, they fail to use. The reality is, though, that the children are half Palestinian. So that maybe we need a sequel to the film of how he responds to his children with the understanding that they are half and half.
Do you want my response to this? You know, it's much easier not to accept your wife than to reject your children. It's much easier, as we know. You divorce from your wife, you don't divorce from your children. And the question is, and I believe that you will think about it, why she has decided to leave at the end, to go back to London. It's a question. And my answer, as the one who created and wrote it, you can have another answer, but my answer is that she has decided to give to her children something that she didn't give to Yoav. She has decided to give them the time to decide if they accept her as a human being or they don't, because she is an Arab. And that's why she is leaving them, and she finished her life. She's not alive anymore when she's there. She's selling something in shops. She's not choreographer. She stopped and she's waiting. And my solution is that peace will come from women. Her daughter accepts her. And she comes, and you can write the continue of the relationship between her and her daughter. But with him, with Yoav, the fact is that he couldn't bear the idea of being deceived or being married to an Arab woman. He couldn't accept it. You can see by the scenes that I wrote, he tries, but it is something inside him. I would call it racism, that can't accept her.
I wanted to say that this may sound presumptuous because I don't know the film as well as you do. I even missed the first few minutes, but I didn't think that Yoav was rejecting her because she was an Arab. That's just, and I certainly don't agree with my lovely neighbor here who thought that he didn't accept the children because they showed him that he loved his children very much even after, because he was that dancing, the music. He didn't reject his children at all, at least. Oh, okay. Well, I thought you. Okay, I misunderstood you. That's what I thought, and I don't think that racism necessarily had anything to do with, based on what I saw in the film. I think that he was deeply hurt
by being deceived.
By being deceived, but I'm sure that there are Arabs in Israel, Muslims, and who have converted to Judaism, and I'm pretty sure that I know that's for fact, at least in one case, because I don't remember where I read this or saw this, an Arab man who was married to a Jewish woman, he converted to Judaism. There's also an Arab woman, you probably have heard of her, and I think her name is Haskia. I can't recall her name. She's a Muslim woman. She lives in the kibbutz. Her children both have served or serving in the IDF, and she's very pleased about being an Israeli. She's a Muslim. She says she has no intentions of converting to any other religion. She's an Arab. And no, I just was wondering, do you think that the Jews there are more racist than?
Okay, I'll answer you. Although there wasn't a question, but I'll try to answer, to react, to say something. First of all, in Israel, 20% of the population are Arabs, first of all, and they are not equal to Jewish, full stop. That's for sure, first of all. Second, when I asked people why she is leaving, why does he cries, why they can't be together, why he rejects her. Most of them say because she deceived him. Most of them. Maybe I failed because, people that live together from time to time, as much as I know, deceive each other, doing little things aside, or this is something that you can correct with kind of dialogue, psychologist. You can correct things. You can't change the fact that she was born Arab. And that's why in the office, at the scene in the office, he says, nothing can be the same. What do you mean, nothing can be the same? Did you try? No. Nothing can be the same is something very definitive. And the fact that she was born Arab, it is definitive.
Just for fun for a moment, you're going to want to put your hands down for just a second. If you, and I'm not meaning to cause any trouble between couples here, but if you found out that your spouse was not who they said they were, how many people here would stay with them? Oh boy, this is you all have to I'm staying. Yes, of course. Yes, if they were put in that position, who would stay? Would they leave? Okay, no hands went up. Interesting. We'll go back to questions now.
Hello?
Saul Zabar, the only one.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Where
Over
is it?
here.
Over there.
Over there.
Over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I have just one question. I understood that when she was younger and in her own home, she couldn't talk. One of the things that is very Jewish is to talk, to explain, to question.
Who
And
couldn't talk?
Nadia, she had to keep everything a secret inside herself. And I assumed it was part of her culture. But she was living 20 years in a Jewish culture, which is very different. And so one of the questions I had is, I thought he was hurt and devastated, not just hurt, devastated that the essence of who she was a total lie. And earlier...
Is it a total lie?
That she lived a total lie to him, yes, because she never revealed her true self, who she was, where she came from, who she was as a person.
Is she not the same person after?
Not
revealing-
unless, well...
Not the same person?
No, I
She's
don't
not
think...
a human being anymore?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. I said the essence of who she was, she did not reveal to her husband. If she had this great love and he loved her, maybe there was a moment that she could say, I now must tell you this secret that I share with you, that many people may have done during the Holocaust. I know many children...
Was there a question, ma'am?
Yes, the question is why it is so silent in the end. Why he doesn't provoke words and communication, since he said he was very political and always
Why was it so silent
Okay.
at the end?
First of all, I want not to correct, but to remark, to say something. When she was young, do you remember the opening scene? She was a happy person. She could talk. She had friends, Jewish, Arab. She talked to Nimmer. She told him that she's going to be with him and to go to London with him. She was full of life. It is the opposite. When she became Jewish and she denied politics, she didn't want to talk about politics, then she became silent. She speaks only with her body. That's why she decided to be choreographer and not writer. She can't. That's what I wanted first of all to say, to express, and What was the second? I'm sorry, what was the second?
I think that was why was she silent? Why was he silent at the end?
She was silenced because she couldn't speak about her past.
And he? Why is he silent
And
at the end?
He's a man, first of all, and men speaks less than women, first of all. He's a man who was insulted. His ego was hurt by the fact that he failed. He didn't even think of speaking to her. That's the idea. He didn't want. She wanted him to talk to him. He didn't want to. She said to him, I miss you, when they are in bed. He doesn't miss her. That's the point.
Right over here, this man in the middle. Thank you.
But I just want to add something. I accept, by the way, any interpretation that you have, really. I wrote this script in a way that can be interpreted many, many ways. I just want you to think and to ask yourself very heavy question. For me, that's enough. That's very important about the situation, about being people, about equality, about accepting or not accepting the other. I am also the other in the society. I am a woman. There are many others. Of course, in Israel, the Palestinians are the ultimate other.
Why did Maya not have any Arab dancers in her dance troupe, and why was she so adamant when challenged on that?
אני לא הבנתי את השאלה. Again, I really tempt to ask you, what is your answer?
Overcompensating, not wanting
Which For me, she can't challenge herself so much, because for her to pick up Arab dancers is going to the West Bank, and she didn't want to. She was in the Jewish part. She didn't go through the other side where she was born. That's the answer.
We have time for one last question over here.
So, Tova, don't you think it would have been more effective for her to have said, listen, let me tell you my story. I was 20 years old. I was in love. My boyfriend was going to London. I ran away. I got involved by accident with a woman who was a terrorist. And the only way I could come back was with Jewish papers. Don't you think she owed him at least a little bit of an explanation? You immediately jumped to the fact that he just couldn't stand it because she was an Arab. But she owed him not because she was an Arab, but as a human being to say, hey, I kept this secret. It doesn't matter that it was about her as an Arab. She could have been anything. I kept this deep secret for 20 years. You gotta say something. No?
Okay.
I think that was her sin more than being an Arab. I think Tova says that as well.
I have something to say, to answer in two aspects. First of all, Maya Nadia is not idealic person. It is boring to make movies about someone who is has no, חולשות.
Weaknesses.
weaknesses or no, she has her weaknesses. But the real answer for me is the fact that she lived for 20 years in Israel. She knew exactly what will be. And what will be is what I show in the movie. He would not accept her.
Well, how do you know? She didn't give him a chick.
I know because I live in Israel for 40 years, at least.
It's fascinating. Actually, last night we had here a screening of a film about a young woman, an Arab woman who is dating a Jewish man who left his religious family, and there was this question also of acceptance. Who is going to accept? Will they accept? And I asked the audience, our liberal Upper West Side audience, who were coming to the Other Israel Film Festival. First of all, if there was a chance for them, who hoped that they would get back together, and most people said yes. And then I asked them, in the reality, how many people here approve of a couple between this Arab woman and a Jewish ex-Orthodox man? And I'd say 90% of the hands went up in the audience, which shows that I don't know, do you think the answer would be the same in Israel?
I think that first of all, if you would ask Yoav, theoretically, the question, he would raise his hand. But when it comes to his examine in life, he failed, as I said. And it's very easy to be liberal when life doesn't test you, when life doesn't provide you things that you have to be honest and say, okay, no, this is too much. And Carol, I want to add that the scene in the kitchen when she drinks the coffee and Yoav comes and put his glass and get out, I had a line there in the script. She says, Yoav, please, let's talk. And he doesn't react, and he leaves the apartment. I decided to cut out this sentence because whenever things were definite in my script, I thought that it might narrow question, ideas, interpretation. So I decided to take it out. Maybe I made a mistake.
Tova, thank you so much. Thank you for this wonderful film. Thank you for being here and for this conversation.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much.
I'll remind you that tomorrow night we have The 90-Minute War and Land of the Little People, two fantastic feature films. We have so many great feature films this year. A lot to say about Israeli film industry. And we added one more feature film on closing night, Beyond the Mountain and the Hills. Please join us for those and help spread the word. Tell your friends to come. Thank you all, and we'll see you soon. Have a good night.